Hello, and well, welcome to the update. So, it's been a while. We are in week 2 of the Orillium Magical Readathon. It's Thursday. But I mean, in my defense, the first week we were on vacation and I didn't want to lug around this big camera with me. We visited family for a few days and then we were in the bush and had no service, camping with a bunch of friends. It was a really good time and I don't regret it. Making memories life-wise, but content-wise, I kind of regret it. But it's okay. We're here now and I've read quite a few books already. So let's dive into it. So this video is going to be a week 1 recap and then pretty much a week 2 recap. And we'll go from there. I read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I fulfilled the 2 non-book reading prompts. So that's what we're going with. We'll just start off with the one that I finished first, which was actually the first 2, which was Mastered and then Dominated by Maya Banks. I read Mastered for elemental studies and it was wind redirection. Point out a random book, choose one adjacent. So I actually chose Dominated, but I chose Mastered since it was beside it and it's the first in the Enforcer series. I absolutely love both of these books. The story starts out, our main character, she was dumped. Her friends kind of convince her to take one of their VIP passes to this very popular elite club. She's kind of reluctant to go, but they end up convincing her. They doll her up to the nines, and when she gets there, she feels very put out. She feels like she doesn't belong there. She's not pretty enough. She's not outgoing enough. She ends up seeing her ex, and things go sideways. The next thing she knows, she's in the owner's office, and that's kind of where her story starts. Our main character, his perspective starts as he's in his club and this woman catches his eye. Right away, he knows that she's super innocent and he's upset that the bouncers let her in the first place, not knowing that she had a VIP pass. Things happen and he sees that this man tries to get handsy with her. He orders him to be kicked out of his club, ordered her to his office, and that's kind of where our characters meet and the story really kicks off. Our main character is so sweet and she's so innocent and she's so hardworking and prideful, and he kind of gives her gifts and she's very put off by them in kind of the best way possible. Our male main character, he has literally grown his empire from nothing, so he doesn't forget what it feels like, but he forgets that other people also are the same. Our female main character, her dad had an accident, and since she was very, very young, she's been kind of the breadwinner and the cook, the clean for her parents. Her mom takes care of her dad, but nobody takes care of this like 9-year-old kid. So she's pretty much been taking care of her parents since she was very, very young. And when she receives gifts, she's very put off as she's very prideful. She's worked for everything she's gotten. And Drake, our male main character, kind of doesn't see that. He's like, this is what I'm giving you, like you should be appreciative. And to her it's very like, I feel like you're trying to buy me. And I very much love that. I love how her friends are very jealous and manipulative, but in the sense that some of them more than others, that she's in the place that she's at within this book. And I love her clapbacks to them and how she actually like stands up for herself, and all the men in Drake's employ, his little like family, also stand up for her and know that she's like the friend that everybody goes to and she's very naive and she doesn't know her own beauty, and they very much, I think, take advantage of that. She's the one who cooks, she's the one who cleans their shitty apartment, and so when she's finally getting taken care of and someone who wants to take care of her, her friends are very put out because they no longer have that person. And I feel like that is very relatable for a lot of people, especially for me. So anyways, there is a third one, but it follows a different couple. So Mastered and Dominated by Maya Banks, the first 2 books in the Enforcer series, will forever be 4 stars for me, but super good. Like, it's still a 4 star. After that, I finished The Lost Hero by Rick Riordan. Again, like I said in the TBR video, I don't know what took me so long. And I'm so mad at myself because the series is so good. I completely forgot the relation between Jason and Talia. Totally forgot. And I was pleasantly surprised to reread it and discover that all over again. Annabeth is still Annabeth. Leo is by far one of my favorite characters within this series. I'm excited to see the other camp in the next one, but thoroughly enjoyed this. Hedge, he kills me. Thoroughly enjoyed, and I can't wait to pick up Son of Neptune. The next book that I finished was Empower by Jessica Shiverington. This is the last book in the Embraced series by her. I read this every single year, and this was my reread, so it's nice to complete the series again. Our very first book is called Embrace, and we follow Violet, who, this is very much your typical early 2000s. This girl goes about her life, living it to the fullest with her best friend Link and Steph, and one day we find out that she's not completely human, and she has to kind of navigate this new world that she's been brought into, or has been a part of her life for a very long time. We find out that she inherently gets this other side of her from her mom. Her dad is in her life, but he very much makes her a second priority. She's pretty much raised herself. But her friends are there to back her all the time, and our love interest Link he's Link. There's nothing bad to say about him. He keeps this very big lie from her, but it's for her own good, and she eventually realizes that. But so good, and I love it. I love it every time I read it. Yeah. This last one, though, gets you in the heart. It's my favorite one to read, to be fair. I love it. The next book I read was Broken Air by Zoe Shelby and Helen Scott. It's the 4th book in the Sweetest Revenge series. We follow our main character who is starting out college, and she's going to this specific college because her sister was murdered. She died. They said that it was a suicide, kind of. It was her own fault. She had drugs in her system, a mixed match of drugs in her system, but our main character knows different. Our main character goes to this college where her sister's best friends are going, and they've been there for a year or 2. She pledges herself to this sorority because that's the sorority her mom went to. Her mom is also deceased and has been for quite a long time, and then her sister died, her older sister died, and then her twin sister committed suicide. So it's literally just her and her dad, and her dad I think he's part of the mafia of this area, and he has made her his enforcer and kind of his bargaining chip for pretty much everyone. So our main character really goes through it. This book has a lot of trigger warnings. I would definitely check those out before you read this series, but it is so good, and I can't wait for the 5th book to come out. After that, I read An Intro to Anatomy, Love 101 by L. Nicole. This book was very short. It was probably more like a novella, but it was so cute and I absolutely loved it. We follow our main character, our male main character, and we start out with him in the courtroom, and they're like, you can either go to prison or you can teach mechanics at night at this college. Obviously, he chooses the latter, and his supervisor is this curvy, red-headed bombshell, and it's kind of their relationship and how it started and kind of where it goes. It was so cute, it was short, it was sweet. I thoroughly enjoyed myself while reading it. I also finished the Elemental Studies, the very first prompt, which is start a book with a drink of water. I did that with The Lost Hero. I read one of the oldest books on your TBR. So I originally had Hatchet by Gary Paulson for this prompt. Actually, I think I had Shatter Me. Then I had Hatchet, and I realized as I was reading Hatchet, I remembered Hatchet. So I went with the next best thing, and that's Brian's Winter. This is super short again, but it was thoroughly enjoyable. I liked it. It was only 133 pages. But if you don't know, Hatchet follows Brian, who was on a very small plane that ended up crashing, and he had to survive in the Canadian wilderness. This book follows after that as an alternate ending if he was never rescued and he had to live throughout the winter in the wilderness. I thoroughly enjoyed this. Gary Paulson is a very popular Canadian author. I definitely remember why we read this in school. Hopefully they still read Hatchet in school, because if not, that's very disappointing, because it is a very enjoyable book. It's not very long whatsoever. There's a few other ones. There's The River, Brian's Return, and Brian's Hunt, which I also haven't read. I bought this for my husband because he's not a big reader and he thoroughly enjoyed Hatchet when he read it in school, so I picked up this one for him, and we've had this for so long, and I was like, oh, I should read that too, and I just never did. So Brian's Winter is the alternate ending, or possible alternate ending, to Hatchet. After that, I read Queen of Anarchy, book 2 in the Dirty Broken Savages series, I want to say, by Eva Ashwood. We follow our main character, and we start off the story, she's in this club and she sees this guy who has done her wrong, and she ends up killing him outside of this club because he sold her wrong information about someone else to help her get her revenge on a group of men who did her wrong. I don't want to give any spoilers away. Our club owners are our male main characters. This is a reverse harem. They're like, who the fuck is this lady just be shooting people outside of our club? They end up knocking her out, taking her back to their place, trying to get to figure out what they want. It turns out in the end, they want the same thing. To her reluctance, she works with them to achieve their end goal. That's all I got. That's all I'm gonna give. It's so good. You should read it. The whole series, this is not sponsored, but the whole series is on Kindle Unlimited, as are all of the ebooks that I've mentioned. This is not sponsored whatsoever, but all of the ebooks I read pretty much are from Kindle Unlimited, so if there's ever an ebook you're looking for, check there. I think that's all the books. We're caught up now. Feels so good. Okay, so those are all the books I've read up to date. What do I want to read next? Since 3 of the 4 books are all animal studies, I'll just start with the first one, and that is The Novice by Taran Matharu. Not really gonna get into it, but I will update you when I'm finished. So I still have this to read. Those are the books I've read, and we're only on week 2. I did a shit ton of reading the first week because, like I said, we were on vacation. We went to the beach with my brother-in-law and his girlfriend, which was really nice, and she's very much like me. We love to read, so we read on the beach while the guys did their thing. We went to a cute little bookstore, which was really nice, and we just chilled together and read, which was great. And then I did a crap ton of reading while camping. Did a little fishing, I did a little reading while we were on the boat as well. Well, I did a lot of reading on the boat. But yeah, it was just a really good vacation, and I read like 85% of the books I needed to. Maybe there will be one more update, probably Saturday or Sunday, to see where I am. I'll catch in with you guys a little bit later. Hello, hopefully I am in focus and I don't have to redo this again. So I finished The Novice by Taran Matharu, the first in the Summoner series, and we follow Fletcher, who is a blacksmith's apprentice. He figures out that he can summon demons. It's such a heartwarming story. Something happens where he has to flee his village, and he sets out to go to the summoning school of this world, where we meet a slew of different species of beings, different races. It's really fun. I think this is classified as a young adult, but it definitely can be middle grade as well. I love Fletcher as the main character. I love the series. I think I will end up probably after the Magical Readathon pick up the second one again, because I do have, what is it, Outcast? I think it's the 4th book, but it's a prequel to the actual, like, to Fletcher's generation of characters within the story. It's, I think, the generation before, and we do get a lot of talk about what happened beforehand and who Fletcher's parents are throughout the series, and I'm so excited. So that is my week 1 and week 2 update. I think I have 4 or 5 books left throughout this series. So, 4 or 5 books left throughout the readathon to read. So I'm excited. Also, I have to start thinking about September's TBR, because Becca's Book-Aplathon is also next month. So lots of reading these next 2 months, super busy, and I thoroughly enjoy it. I think I always look forward to the readathon months, specifically this one and then Becca's, because sometimes I'm in a reading slump, and readathons are a great way to kind of like dig yourself out of those reading slumps, and they're just fun, and there's so many people around the world who also enjoy it, so you know you're not the only one reading a shit ton, and you're not the only one experiencing, you know, reading slumps and that kind of thing. So they're thoroughly enjoyable, and I love it. So that is my catch up for week 1 and 2. And hopefully you'll see me in another 2 weeks for the wrap up of week 3 and 4, and then my final recap of the whole month. If I do a lot of updating next week and week 4, they may be separate vlogs, but probably not. I'll probably just recap 2 weeks again together. So we'll see what it comes to, how much footage I have. I will catch you guys in the next one.